So Monday night, it's the non-league football debate. Been looking forward to this for many weeks. The season is officially over. All the guys are here in the studio ready to go. I think it's only fair before we start to introduce everybody that we've got here. We're going to kick off by saying a very good evening to Junior Caddy, who is the first team coach at Dulwich and Hamlet. Very good evening to you.
Evening.
Let's start by having a quick recap of the season. Obviously, finished fifth. Did you achieve all your targets this year?
No, we always try and be better than the season before. This year we got into the playoff final. Unfortunately, lost to East Dulwich in the final. So our objective was to try and get promoted. But, next season we'll give it a go again.
We're going to be talking a little bit later on about your developing young players. It's one of the sections in the show that I'm most looking forward to.
Yeah.
You obviously you do that. You progress players through and move them on into the Football League.
Yeah.
Is there a lot more to take out of your season than just where you finish?
Yeah, I mean, well, not so much this year because we normally have a lot more boys from our academy, Aspire Academy, going to the first team, and we kind of went down a different route a little bit this year with a few more experienced players. So, yeah, it's a hard one because you've got to get the right balance to be successful. So, but yeah, in general, it wasn't bad.
Undefeated in your last 11 home games, so there's a lot of positive to take, hopefully, to roll into next season.
Yeah, at home it's good. I mean, the support was brilliant. We're averaging 1,500, 1,600. Even when we played Lewis the last game of the season, 2,500 there. So the support was really good at home. They get us going, and yeah, it's just away from home really. So yeah.
I was going to say, I don't want to put you on the spot and say what went wrong, but was it the away form that obviously needs to improve for next season for you?
There's a few things. It's not just about the away form. It's just in general having the players buying into everything we want them to do. We've learned. We've made a few mistakes well this year, so hopefully next year we should put some better stead.
Moving on, we've got Hayden Birds, the Merstham manager, been on here a few times on the show. Delighted to have you on. Very good evening to you.
Hello, Ben.
And let's talk a little bit about your season. Obviously, first season in the Ryman Premier this year, and 10th place finish. Really good.
Yeah, the guys ticked every box. I said from the start there were 4 objectives. The first objective, like any team that is promoted, was to make sure that we stayed in the league. The second objective was to reach the top 10, which we did. The third objective was for 60 points. We got 62. And the fourth target was to win the Surrey Senior Cup, which obviously the boys did against Godalming at Woking. And so I think it was a huge credit to everybody involved in the football club. The players did particularly well this year.
And we'll talk a little bit more about players moving on later in the show, but you've certainly had one of the guys, Charlie Pennant, was on loan, and also another one of your players moved on to Woking, so they've made that step up a couple of divisions now, showing how well they've done this year. Yeah,
I think I'm building quite a good team at Woking, to be fair. Certainly better than they had last year. But it's part of football, isn't it? It's part of football. Charlie come over from Dulwich. He had 1 or 2 issues with injuries at the start of the season. Needed games, did really well. Fabio is a young man that we've developed since 17 years of age, and both are worthy of their move. I don't think that you can stand in the guys' way. They've both been fantastic for this football club, and we wish them both very well.
Now, I've got to be fair on this show. I'm going to ask the same questions as we go round. For you, what do you need to improve next year? Where was it this year that you felt, we can improve on that?
I think that's a really difficult one, Ben. I think the season was split into 2 halves. The first half of our season, sure, there was lessons that had to be learnt, but equally that there were players that did really well for us in our promotion season that we needed to give opportunities to. As the team progressed, we realised that we needed probably more experience in the league to do well, which the second half of the season we brought players in with a little bit more wherewithal in this level and proved very successful. So to move it on again, I think, is a combination of 2 things. The first thing is very important. It's my job to continue to improve the players, because Merstham isn't a football club where we can just recklessly go and spend money and spend over the odds to get better players in. So we need to spend the money well and improve the players, and also cherry pick key positions where we're looking to improve but maintains the core of the squad.
And we'll talk more about that a little bit later on. I'm going to bring in Mark White, manager of Dorking Wanderers. Very good evening to you, Mark.
Evening.
Looking back on your season then, are you pleased? Obviously, finishing so high, not gone up. Very tough league to get out of with two teams going up into the playoffs. Overall, were you pleased with the performance this year?
Yeah, really good year. We had the best record in the top 6 with the clubs that played one another. We didn't lose a game. Beat Folkestone at home, drew down their place. Our Achilles heel really was actually at home, and we had a few bad habits before you asked the question in terms of what was what. We had a few bad habits coming up for step 5, and Jappy here will testify. You get players that maybe don't necessarily have the same mindset that the boys do from the leagues above, and actually for the first 3-4 months of the season, it was almost like managing my team at work in terms of a holiday planner. People away, odd days, odd weeks, and it was really challenging for that reason, especially with so many games. So we had a period where we lost a lot of points, and when holiday season had finished and everybody came back, and we done really well. But we were on most people's list to be relegated. Historically, teams struggle first year or two, and we finished runners-up. And so, that's far outweighed what we expected.
Yeah, like you say, back-to-back promotions, and also should be said that you scored 99 goals, second highest in the league as well. So it shows you that you weren't just making up the numbers there. You were not only did you finish second, but you were scoring goals for fun as well. Yeah,
we were, and we resurrected Tommy Hutchins' career from Merstham, and he got injured. That's a joke. He got injured as well, so that was disappointing. So we had one lad really, Tom Tolfrey, that carried us through to the back end of the right to the death, to the end of the season, and we relied upon him quite a lot. It was excellent. A really good season.
Next up, Ant Jupp in the studio with us tonight from Horley Town. Another great season, finishing really high in the league, doing well, and obviously we're going to talk about Ashley Addison a little bit later, developing that talent, and ultimately he's gone on now to join Fleetwood. Overall, though, for your team, how pleased are you with the season?
Yeah, I mean, we had a target of top half this year. We've had a couple of bad seasons fighting relegation. We've stuck with the same strategy, the same players, the same system, just got more consistency out of the players. And to be honest, come Christmas, we upped our target to top 5, which we were in for most of the run-in, but unfortunately fell a bit short towards the end and finished 6th. But yeah, overall, well happy as a club and certainly as a manager.
And we've got Paul Walker in the studio as well, who's manager of Crawley Wasps ladies team. So we've got a fair balance throughout the sort of league structures. Delighted to have you here, Paul. Very good evening to you.
Thank you, Ben. It's a pleasure to be here.
And as far as your season, tell us a little bit about how your team have fared in the league.
Well, the ladies' first team this season in the league, we perhaps didn't finish as high as we'd like. Nevertheless, we had a good season. Perhaps the highlight of the season for us was reaching the Sussex FA Challenge Cup final, where we came up against Brighton and Hove Albion ladies, which I'm sure most of you know in here have just qualified for the Women's Super League and have a fantastic side, fantastic setup. And we came out second in that game, but probably one of the most inspiring evenings of my time with the club, which spans something like 8 or 9 years now. And
you just, to give an idea of, because the ladies' game's obviously evolved massively in the last few years with the introduction of the Super League 1, Super League 2. You're one tier away from the Women's Premier League Division 1.
Yeah, this, as you alluded to there, the structure of the ladies' game is at the top of the pyramid is the Women's Super League. And then you have the winter pyramid, which you have at the top of that, the FA Women's Premier League, and below that you have combination levels of that. We fit into the regional level just below that.
And we're going to say a very good evening as well to Bob Dick, who's here from the Surrey FA. Lovely to have you with us as well. I'm sure you're going to chip quite a lot into some of the things that we're going to be covering tonight.
Good evening to you, Ben and gentlemen. It's been a bit like a football family. 3 clubs from Surrey, 1 from London, 1 from Sussex. So I'm not here as an arbitrator or referee. You're just to listen and comment.
Now, we will go back and touch on all of your seasons. Don't forget as well, I should say right now, if you want to get involved in this debate, big non-league football debate tonight, you can do that. I'm going to give you the text details again. If you want to text the Susy Studio, it's 07811 26 55 65 if you're on the text. If you're on Twitter and you want to get involved that way, you can do that. All you need to do is text at _back_. Jay is somewhere in the corner of our really busy studio tonight, and he'll be all across the texts and the tweets, and we'll read some of those out. So if you've got any specific questions to any of the guys that are here tonight, then do get involved.